Okay, everyone, so we now know how to add and subtract one-step equations. Today we're going to learn multiplying and dividing one-step equations. So this video will go a little bit faster than the last one because you already understand things like inverse operations, and you also know what is our goal. Remember, anytime I write something, you go ahead and write it too. And just because I write x, that's for any variable, okay? That's just the most popular one, that's all. Okay, so for multiplying and dividing, these are inverse operations. Okay, use multiply. I don't want to use x anymore. See, I already got myself confused by using that. So big kid stuff, we don't really use the x anymore. So I'm just going to have to write it out. I can't be lazy here. Use multiply to solve dividing problems. And use division to solve multiplication problems. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in here. So we're going to solve and do the check. Now again, you might already know the answer, and that is great, but we're building our fundamentals, our basic building blocks, so that when we get to more complex problems, so we will have those skills and tools to use. Okay, so for the first one, to solve that, 5 times the number equals 25. Well, we know that we can work backwards, and the way that this is going to look with multiplication and division, you know that with addition and subtraction we worked going down, and it's going to be the same way here. We're going to divide this side by 5, like using a fraction bar. So then we're going to divide the other side by 5 using a fraction bar. 5 over 5 reduces or cancels, and I'm left with x equals 25 divided by 5, which is 5. Okay, now when we check that, we go ahead and write our original equation, 5x equals 25. Now, I plug in 5 for the x. This is how we're going to see multiplication written a lot of times now. Okay, what is 5 times 5? 25. Does that equal the other side? Yes, it does. So I know I'm right. Okay, let's move down to a division problem. This division problem says that a number divided by 2 is 19. We're trying to figure out what that number is. You might know what that is based on how I read the problem. But to solve it, what we can do is we can multiply both sides by 2. See, this is divide by 2 here. The inverse, or the opposite of dividing by 2, is multiplying by 2. And this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to multiply this side by 2 and this side by 2. On the left side, that might look a little weird, but think of it like when we did improper fractions. It's really like saying 2 over 1. So 2 times a number divided by 2 would just give me that number. So if you're not sure what I'm trying to say there, I'll go ahead and give you a real-life example. 2 times any number, like 5, would be 10. And then if I divide that by 2, I just am left with 5. So that's why we're getting the number by itself. When you multiply something by 2 and divide it by 2, it really cancels. It goes and leaves you with that number. Okay, so the number is, and then of course we multiply the other side by 2 because we do the same thing to both sides. The number is 38. So now I can go ahead and check that. A number divided by 2 equals 19. I think that number is 38. So 38 divided by 2. And if I work that out, you should be able to do that in your head, but if you can't, you can work it out. And yes, it is 19. So it works. Okay, go ahead and try the next one by yourself. If you are confused, go back up to the first one that we did. This is a multiplication problem, and we're going to use division. If you're not sure what to do, keep watching. Okay, so you either are continuing watching or you just unpaused it. Did you divide both sides by 8 because it was multiplication? I want the 8 to go away because my goal is always to get that variable by itself. So this cancels. And b, my variable here, is equal to 8. Okay, that's a lot of 8s in one problem. Let's go ahead and do the check and see what happens. 8b equals 64. Okay, that doesn't say 86. That can be confusing. I think b is 8, so 8 times 8. And what's 8 times 8? It is 64. Okay, try that last one by yourself. Now this one is like the division one. Go ahead and try that one. Okay, a number divided by 4 is 9. I want to multiply both sides by 4 to get rid of the divide by 4. And the 4 over 4 cancels, and I'm left with f equals 9 times 4, which is 36. Okay, go ahead and check it by writing the original problem. And then 36 divided by 4, which you should know your math facts, that is 9. Okay, make sure you circle any that you have questions on so that you can ask in class. And we are going to go to the next page. We've got 7a equals negative 84. So you knew that negatives would show up soon. Same process though, same process. I'm still going to divide both sides by 7 to get the a by itself, remember? Okay, 7 over 7 cancels and a equals, oh, you might have to do some work if you don't know all of your times facts, but the answer is negative 12. Okay, let's go ahead and check that. And yes, I will require you to do the check unless I say otherwise, okay? So if you ask, do we need to do the check, the answer is going to be yes. Sorry. Again, this is those basic building blocks. And here's the other thing. Why put a wrong answer down if you know that you can get it right? Okay, you know that you can check your answer and find out if it's right. We don't always have that option in math. We have to kind of trust what we did. But here with equations and in algebra, you actually know if your answer is right or wrong before you are done. Okay, so do 7 times negative 12, and that is negative 84, especially because you're using your calculator now. It should be going pretty fast. Okay, the next one's a little trickier. A number divided by negative 4. Well, use what you know about integers. What do you know about this number? Is it going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative because a negative divided by a negative is the only way that I can get a positive answer. So let's actually write that now. Let's write u equals negative so I don't get lost when I do that. So when I have u divided by negative 4, I am going to multiply by that number on the bottom. Just like on the previous page when we had, let's take a look. When we had a number divided by positive 2, we multiplied both sides by positive 2. When we divided by positive 4, we multiplied both sides by positive 4. So you're going to multiply by that exact number. And this exact number is negative 4. Okay, go ahead and do 14 times negative 4, and you get negative 56. Okay, copy down the original problem. U divided by negative 4 is positive 14. And u is negative 56, so I rewrite it exactly how it is, except I write negative 56. And is negative 56 divided by negative 4 positive 14? Yes, it is. Okay, make sure you're actually plugging that into your calculator. Okay, go ahead and try the next two. Try those two on your own. Okay, did you divide both sides by negative 3? Be careful, that means that m is positive 15. But if you had gone over here to do the check, let's say you had the wrong answer, then it wouldn't have worked out right. The only way that this does equal negative 45 is if you multiply it by positive 15, because look, the signs are different. Different signs means it's a negative answer, negative 45. Okay, and then on the last one, did you multiply both sides by 9? That's because 9 over 9 cancels, and I'm left with g equals negative 99. So g over 9, again, a g and a 9 look similar. I got to be careful. Okay, I believe that that's negative 99 over 9. And what is negative 99 divided by positive 9 equal? It is a negative number, negative 11. Okay, now on the next page, go ahead and flip to page 8 in your packet. You're going to do this all on your own in class. Okay, so you can write that here so you know. There's nothing new for me to show you on this page. And then you can actually turn to page 9. And there's not a whole ton for us to do together here either. Go ahead and try the 4 on this side. Go ahead and try these 4, then unpause it. Go back to the ones that you need to. Okay, just like when we had the addition and subtraction, you have now the variable b on the right-hand side. That's okay. You still need to get b by itself, so I need to multiply by 11 on both sides. Okay, so here's what happens. The 11s cancel. You have 11 times 7 is 77, and that equals b. Now when I check it, 7 equals b over 11. I have 77 over 11. And what is 77 divided by 11? There we go. Okay, so each of these, you notice that the variable's on the right-hand side. So if you needed help on the first one, now you could try pausing it if you think you understand now why we're doing this. It's not differently. We're still getting the h by itself by getting rid of the negative 18. It's negative 18 times h, so I want to divide by negative 18. So I'm going to divide both sides by that number that's attached to the h. Okay, division undoes, or dividing will undo multiplication. Okay, 72 divided by negative 18 is negative 4. And if I do the check, forgetting to box my answers here. If I do the check, I know that a negative number times a negative number will give me a positive answer, and it gives me positive 72. Okay, very good. Okay, last two. I want n by itself here, so I need to get rid of the divide by negative 19 part. To get rid of divide by negative 19, we are going to multiply by negative 19 on both sides. And negative 19 times negative 9 is what I need to solve since these cancel. And that is equal to, do you have your calculators? You don't have to do it off to the side anymore. Isn't that nice? 171. Okay, negative 9 equals a number divided by negative 19. We think that number is positive 171, which would work because now they have different signs that would yield a different answer. 171 divided by negative 19 is negative 9. And the last one, divide both sides by 7. 126 divided by 7 is 18. When I check my answer, it looks like this. Everything looks the same except I plug in 18 for t, and then I do 7 times 18, and that gives me 126. Okay, the rest of these pages are going to be done in class, so you can get a head start, but you don't have to. Make sure you circle any that you have questions on.